everyone, quick note before you watch this video. This one here is a bit of just a pure rant. I've done very little editing, like very little. I've just sort of gone on and on and on and on. Cause it's a topic I've just been thinking a lot about and that I'm relatively passionate about. And it's something I have a lot of energy behind, but I haven't actually fully figured out how to communicate it clearly. But yeah, it was an interesting video, but I guess enjoy. Let's just see what comes out of it. Hey everyone, how's it going? AZREN here. Hope you guys are doing well. In this video here, I want to talk about two different types of fluency that exist in language learning. Now, the first type of fluency is what I call intellectual fluency. Basically what this means is that you learn the language by taking a very intellectual approach. For example, you memorize all the grammar, you memorize all the vocabulary, you memorize all the pronunciation rules, you memorize everything, or virtually everything there is to know about the language. You put it in your brain, you internalized it, you practiced it a bunch, you did a whole bunch of examples, you spoke, you listened, you did all that stuff, and now you're very fluent, you're very good in the language. Now, although that is very common, I think most people tend to have a very intellectual fluency. I think that's what most people have. However, there's another type of fluency which is not talked about a lot, which is emotional fluency. I'm actually someone who's more emotionally fluent than intellectually fluent. Essentially what this means is that I have learned languages by how that language makes me feel. For example, in Spanish, when I say the word feliz, feliz in English means happy. There we go, got there. It means happy. And however, when I say the word feliz in Spanish, my brain doesn't go, feliz equals happy. My brain doesn't translate it into my first language like most people's do. I just go, feliz. Feliz means, and I feel it. I feel literally, when I say feliz, I feel something in my body, an emotion, which then I associate with the meaning of the word. And I've done that for basically everything. I have a tiny little feeling for everything in the languages that I speak. And there's some advantages and there's some disadvantages of learning this way. I think the major advantage is that it gives you speed, right? There's no wasted time in translating in your brain. When I speak in Spanish, I think in Spanish. When I speak in French, I think in French. When I speak in English, I think in English. When I speak in different languages, I think in the language that I am speaking. And I think that gives you a lot of speed. However, there's a lot of disadvantages as well. One of the main disadvantages is that emotional learners really suck at translating. Like literally, if you were to give me the simplest word in French and ask me to translate it to another language, like, it's hard for me. It's really hard because I haven't connected that word in Spanish or that word in French or that word in Gujarati. I've not connected that word to a word in another language. I haven't made that connection. I've connected it to a feeling inside of my body. And so when you say, hey, what does that mean? I go, it means that feeling I'm feeling right now. And then I have to think, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? How do I describe that? And it's a really challenging process. The other major disadvantage, this is the big one, this is the big kahuna, and it's the fact that when you are not fluent in the language, when you're still learning, boy, being an emotional learner kind of sucks in a lot of ways. Because I'll give myself an example. In Chinese, even though I'm not fluent in Chinese, when I speak in Chinese, I think in Chinese. And it's bad, it's actually not a great thing, because if you put me in a scenario that I'm very unfamiliar with, like you put me in, I don't know, in a political discussion, okay? And I don't have that vocabulary. My brain still thinks in Chinese. However, it doesn't have the vocabulary to think in Chinese. And it's this paradox of like thinking in the language without having the vocabulary to think in that language. And basically the result is you're stuck. You're completely stuck, you cannot say anything, and your brain basically just completely shuts down. And that's a real problem, because you can't then communicate in social circles. You just get stuck, which absolutely sucks. I mean, I've lost a lot of friendships in a lot of ways, because there's some really great people. It's like, that's an awesome dude, that's an awesome gal, that's an awesome girl, right? We could get along, but now we're talking, and there's a word, I don't have it. I haven't saved that emotion or that word or anything in Chinese in my brain for something, and I can't communicate. I just get freaking stuck, and it sucks so much, right? And so my whole thing on this, right, the reason I want to talk about this is because, number one, I don't think people really talk about emotional fluency all that much. I've never heard of anyone really mention it. And you need to be very aware of what your learning style is. Are you an intellectual learner or are you an emotional learner? Emotional learners, guys, you need, in my opinion, you need to be learning by immersion. It's the fastest way. You will learn so freaking fast, because what will happen, you'll hear some word, you'll hear some expression, you'll hear people talking, and you'll hear something, you'll be like, oh, that's interesting. You'll react to what happened in the social situation of you hearing that word. Intellectual learners won't do it. You won't do it. Someone needs to tell you this word means X. So I was watching I'm going to keep going with this because I've got lots of thoughts in my brain. I was watching this Chinese movie, and literally I was reading the subtitles, I was listening, I was watching what's going on. I looked up some of the words I didn't know, right? I looked them up. And what's funny is that when I watch some of that Chinese movie now, I understand what's going on. I understand everything they're saying, but I could not translate it for you. It's so hard. So I go, oh yeah. I know the feeling. I know the emotion. I get it. I got this, right? But I cannot translate it for you. I couldn't do it. So anyway, that's the end of that rant. No idea what's gonna come in this video. I don't know if this is very clear, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it turns out, but have an awesome day. See you guys later. Bye for now.